back, and you're listening to Executive Leaders Radio. It's my pleasure to introduce you to our next guest, Tracy Shen, Managing Partner at Florin Group. Welcome, Tracy. Tracy, what is the Florin Group?
The Florin Group is a holistic wealth advisory firm dealing especially with multi-generation family. And we try to inspire joy, compassion, and kindness through dealing with.
That's a little different than most traditional wealth advisors.
Yes.
Why is that? Why did you choose that?
Because a lot of time we find that the family, they don't get along because of money or a lot of whole other issue. And so we try to just bring everyone together by teaching them to help each other, to be kind and thoughtful, to be non-judgmental.
It's a different approach. How many clients you work with?
We work with about 100 clients.
Where are you from originally?
I'm originally born in Taiwan, and I immigrated to the U.S. when I was 7.
What was going on then?
My dad was applying to University of Northern Missouri for auto engineering degree, and so we immigrated here because he wants to go to school in the U.S.
Andrew, what do you got?
In the green room, Tracy, we learned that you spent some time living with your grandparents. How old were you when you moved to?
I think I was 2 to 5 years old when I was living with them.
And what did you learn through that experience?
I love that experience. We were living in the countryside. I get to climb trees, play with bugs. It was just very freeing from the city.
And later, there was a significant event with your grandparents that had an effect on you. Tell us about that.
So my grandparent passed away when I was a teenager, and my grandma was really special to me. And so when they passed away, the family kind of had a lot of fighting because they never had done any estate plan. I don't think they ever told their children about all their investment real estate all over the world. They had dealings in South America, United States, Europe, everywhere. And so I think the family was not close at that time.
And it was a large family, so clearly you take that into your work at Florin Group. You don't want to see your clients go through the same. Is that fair?
That's fair to say.
And is that particularly why you led with joy, compassion, and kindness as far as a mission of your firm?
Yes.
So how does that show up in a client interaction? How do you walk somebody through, and how do you prove to them that you have compassion, joy, and kindness behind what you do?
First of all, finance is a subject that most people, they don't want to talk about. And so we try to bring fun to finance. And so what we do mainly is, take them on a very magical experience journey where we look over everything and we talk to them about, not only their goal and their wishes, but we try to incorporate their kids' goals and wishes into the planning. So we'll meet with the parents separately, then we'll meet with the adult children, and then we'll try to bring everyone together.
So just to back up for a second, can you share with us in 2012, as I believe is when you began and started the firm, can you tell us about that process and what you learned through it?
Yeah, I originally started with 2 other partner or friends who were with me in the same firm. And, we want to create a firm where there's no agenda, there's no company pushing you to sell product. We want to create a firm where we can make a difference in the financial industry. And unfortunately, at the last minute, they kind of backed out with the financial side of things. And I was disappointed, but I kept going anyway. I kept continuing with the firm.
What was it about you that enabled you to do that, as opposed to it would have been easier just to go back to get a job or something?
I guess I've always been a brave person, and I've always been, when I was a child, not being afraid of things, because I always know there's something higher that will help look out for me, take care of me. My parent even made a comment when I was little that I had fell off a horse when I was 5, but I didn't want to tell them in case they won't let me ride horses anymore. And so, I guess I was just, not ever afraid.
So, Tracy, that courage, that bravery, you said something in the green room that was very apropos. You're trying to change the way wealth managers or the wealth management business. Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so what we are trying to do is we're trying to bring a independent third-party advice there's so many information out there, and we just try to guide our client on a journey regarding to their challenges. And
So it's not just about selling them a mutual fund or investing and walking away and talking to them 90 days later?
Right. It's not about that. Some of our clients we talk to on a monthly basis. Recently, last week, one of our clients who is a widow, have no family, we even took her to the emergency room. So because she didn't want to hire a nurse. So hopefully she's listening to this and she will hire someone.
So the compassion and the joy that you mentioned earlier is the thread that will drive your business, but it also drives your own passion.
Yeah, we just want this world to be a more of a happier place. And so sometimes I joke with my staff is that, this is like we're trying to bring Florintopia into the world. And we're trying to make a difference in however small way we can by just getting back to the olden day where everyone care more about each other and there's more of an understanding. And
You grew up in an environment where obviously you were living with multiple generations of people, and then all that got uprooted, and you come to Taiwan. What was the hardest part of that, making that transition here for you?
it actually wasn't too hard for me because I like new experience and traveling to different country and learning about different culture and different people.
Where did that get instilled in you?
I think because my grandparent had always traveled around the world, and so I think I'm more like my grandparent in terms of being an entrepreneur. They were entrepreneur, they traveled, and they helped out a lot of people.
Tracy, you mentioned that your grandparents were incredibly talented at spoiling you. What does that? What impact did that have on you then, and what have you learned from it, and what do you do now?
So the impact was not so good when I was little. All my aunts and uncles said I was spoiled. And so I really didn't learn to be a nicer person until when I moved to the United States, and my parent really taught me to be a more kinder person and to be non-judgmental. And everyone has their own opinion, and I shouldn't put my opinion over their opinion.
That's a pretty powerful lesson to learn as a young person. How did that stick with you? I mean, you could have been out just trying to make friends, but how did that lesson stick with you then, and how does it show up now?
I think the lesson from my mom and dad was very good because I never judge other. I'm never jealous of other or envious of other. And so I just, figure everyone do their own thing, and everyone has their own strength and weakness. And so being a trusting person, that sometimes, I just look at the good in people.
Does that help with business, or does that hurt? Seriously.
I think initially it hurt it because I didn't understand all there are people out there who may not be as open and transparent, and there are people who have insecurity, so then they brought their insecurity to work, and then they're afraid, so then they do something not so good. But now I'm much more cautious.
Does somebody have another question here you want to ask?
Can you tell us a little bit about the relationship that you had with your mom when you were growing up?
Yeah, the relationship with my mom when I was growing up was good because I didn't realize this, and she didn't realize this until later, but her 1 year was deaf. So a lot of times she would make me repeat things a couple of times, and so I got to be very patient, and I got to be very good at dealing with, my grandparents, her dad, at repeating myself and being patient.
Yeah, I need to cut this at this point. We're getting towards the end. So, Tracy, thanks. What's the website address for Florin Group?
The website address is floringroup.com. floringroup.com. FLORINGROUP.
Thanks. We've been speaking with Tracy Shen, Managing Partner at Florin Group. Don't forget to visit our website, executiveleadersradio.com, to learn more about our executive leaders. And we'll be back in a moment right after this Business Spotlight.
And your name is?